Hello viewers, it's TheMeInTeam. Welcome to another Starcraft 2 match. I will be playing a game against PyroMaster. He will be in the red, I'll be in the blue down here. So once again we have a Protoss versus Protoss matchup. It's just similar to the last one. And this is actually the immediate game following the game that I just cast against River M, I think it was? Yeah, River M. So this is pretty much the next ladder game I played, and then after this, MLS, also known as Puppies in StarCraft 2, came on, and I played a few 2-on-2s with him. Maybe I'll cast some of those as well if I can get some time to record tonight. Anyway, I'm speeding up the early goings here because, I don't know, I know most casters don't do it, but I don't see a whole lot engaging going on usually, and I'll slow it down if something does. There's really not a whole lot to say on the early goings. We're both opening gateway first, so no really strained variant play or anything. But here, yeah, get a scout off on his base. I've actually got in the habit of hotkeying my probe, although I'm going to start hotkeying it to control group 2 rather than 1. That way I can control early military units and still the probe if it's around. I do get a scout on the cyber core. Pretty obvious there. He gets a scout on my gateway, but not a whole lot else. And pretty much I'm just going pylons with mineral heavy early on. He does get a scout on the second gateway. And it's kind of funny, like, people see the second gateway and assume early pressure. It's kind of a metagame thing. And yeah, you'll see that I clicked on the forge here. I'm almost certain that his response, that this forge was not something he would have done unless he saw this early second gateway. So that's kind of interesting to me. And this happens with Zerg players too. They seem to see the second gateway and feel pressure, which is not an unreasonable reaction. Yeah, I got his probe there, which was kind of bad on his part. Because I could just go mass chrono boost out Zealots and hit right away. And if you only have one gateway for a while, which is pretty common with your traditional 4-gate work gate build, to delay the gateways for a bit, you could wind up with only having one stalker, or maybe a zealot and a stalker or something against like 5 or 6 zealots, and wind up having a couple zealots really put a hurting on your probe line, cut into your ability to mine. You'll probably lose a few units, and it'll set you back quite a bit then off that 2-gate. So I can understand that puts pressure on people and kind of catches them off guard. And the other thing is, since I once again avoided gas, you'll notice pretty big unit advantage for me, and it's not like he can do a whole lot with just that one stalker just yet. Part of that's because he blew funds on the forge, of course, and he even got a cannon, so he really misread what I was doing. And since I scouted forge, I actually saw the cannon going up as well before he picked off my probe. I felt like I was safe to expand. So I did drop a Nexus, and yeah, here the probe's not getting through. No scout for you. What did he see? He did not even see the expo, I don't think. So that's a good good sequence of events for me, and I guess he didn't scout it because he was expecting pressure. That's my guess. And notice I'm pretty far ahead on the supply count here. Yeah, if you just probe up early, you can get an interesting lead, apparently. Yeah, I do have a 5 harvester count lead now. So, pretty impressive there, in my opinion, just from avoiding the early gas. Although I will be getting it sooner or later. I do have my own forge, and that's because I'm taking an expo. And notice I'll send, yeah, I sent my zealots over here to check if he had an expo. He had nothing. And I also poked up here just a moment ago and got a look at what he had going on. I didn't see a lot of units, so nothing that really scared me. I saw the forge. I didn't see a lot of gateway. I didn't see anything that really lent me to believe that he could kill me immediately. But when I saw that he didn't have an expansion, and that's what I checked for, that was my cue to start dropping cannons, because no expansion means that he is going to go for some kind of early pressure. And my suspicion was probably 4-gate, but it looks like he's actually doing a 3-gate expansion build, or that was his intention at least. Although he only he has 3 gates, but he isn't expanded. So he's going to attack me here. He sees the cannon, yeah, he surprises me there and shoots that one down like instantly. Force fields my ramp, but most of my zealots are out here already. And here's an interesting thing, he's trying to kite, but that's actually not that easy once you let the zealots close in that much. And stalkers, well, I didn't get a good look there, but unlike the stalkers, the sentries are a little bit on the slow side, and it's hard to kite effectively against zealots with them. So I was actually able to pick some of those off. And checking out the units lost tab, that's actually not favorable for him whatsoever. Rather bad. So I actually hosed him a bit with my zealots, which is a really nice turn of events for me, because usually stalkers can beat zealots quite soundly. Now what I'm really trying to do here is just prevent him from running up the ramp, doing a run-by. It's something you'd normally see with Zerglings, but stalkers are certainly capable of it, especially if they get their hands on Blink. But I do have the zealots available to prevent him from getting up the ramp easily. And without any vision, without Blink, he's not getting in here to cause too much damage very easily. So I'm able to run him off. And that is a terrible thing for my Protoss opponent, because he's still not expanded. And now if you look at the units count, I'm up 36 probes to 21 probes. I don't know why he stopped probing up, actually. It really, this is normally a build that you would see for an expansion, but he just stopped training probes. I guess he felt like he could beat me on pressure or something, but that wasn't meant to be. And now you're going to see, oh yeah, now I'm going tech a little bit. I do have all my gas, and I'm spending quite a bit of money on that, so yeah, I was afraid of Void Rays or some kind of play like that. And knowing I was up in expansion for that long, I really didn't feel too bad about dropping a load of cannons and pylons and stuff, and just trying to avoid any easy deaths to Void Rays. You know, I would make him work for it. So yeah, I'll invest in static defenses if I feel like I'm in a position where I'm not going to lose unless I get some kind of surprise. And so any Dark Templar play would easily get hosed by this. If you tried to run up here, or even Blink Stalkers would struggle, because I've got some cannons here and there, and this base is pretty crowded now. So he would tend to get stuck a lot, and I'd get a lot of hits on him. And I'd probably just drop half my zealots this way, half this way, and force him out. He'd do some damage if he could actually get them up there, but even that would be iffy because of the cannon placement and where I could just block him off. And I do catch this, so I send my zealots over there. But yeah, I would just run up here and block him from getting sight. So he would need some kind of air, probably an observer just to blink up there. A lot of tech required, buying me a lot of time. And that's time he doesn't really have, because I'm going to start getting Void Rays. And so that's not something that can be effectively run from. I do have a sentry now. I have one stalker of my own, not sure why I got a stalker. And I chose to beat down these rocks so I could get another path at his expansion. At this point, I'd suspected he had expanded just based on his build with the 3 gates. But he hasn't, and that's just terrible for him. Not sure why he's not doing that. I mean, I know it's low-tier diamond, but it's still diamond. You know, I would expect most players at this level of play to realize that they are in deep, well, you know what, if you let your opponent sit on an extra base greater than you in a mirror matchup. So not only did he fail to take out the Expo, but he let me sit on it. So that was completely the wrong play. If he saw that Expo and saw the cannons, he could have just pulled back and dropped his own Nexus. I would not have been able to take out a Nexus defended by these Stalkers without losing virtually all of my Zealots. So that would have been a more even play on his part, and it would have made this game closer than it is right now, because now you're looking at a huge supply advantage for me. And even now, look at that. That worker count disparity is ridiculous. And yeah, here I sent my Void Rays over to take on the destructible debris. I have a pylon situated here already. I'm going to take the gold. It's actually away from him, so he would have to go out of his way a little bit to grab that. If I were playing up to par, I would probably have claimed the Xel'Naga Watchtower as well. Really not a whole lot of reason not to take control of that, but, well, I screwed that one up. And yeah, just 2 gates here. Someone sent me a link to Team Liquid's calculator for how much you can afford or whatever. and 5 standard gateways plus 2 stargates, you will spend your minerals. You will only spend about 70% of your gas. But since I'm getting upgrades for both my ground and my air, I'm actually able to spend my gas. I would eventually need to either add a Stargate or and mix in some more gas-intensive units to take advantage of this on 2 bases. But this isn't a bad balance for while you're still building up pylons, still building up your tech in terms of upgrades and whatnot. So my instincts there are actually not too bad, all things considered. I'm still learning Protoss to a lot of extents, but I'm starting to really like this Void Ray build if you can get to it. If your opponent doesn't put pressure on you in the early game, and you're not forced into a more reasonable build, then there's really not a lot of answer to this. Anytime you have like Colossi, they're not going to do anything. The Void Rays, obviously, because they can't attack air. But if they don't have the Colossi, they have a lot of trouble getting through cannons cost effectively, and they also will struggle against the Zealots. Like, you'd think, okay, Void Rays, just blink Stalkers. But if you blink, look at this, would you blink into this? Those Zealots would be all over you, and that's the only time a Zealot's going to beat a Stalker. Is when the Stalker is standing still and deliberately blinking into them. But then if you delay your blink, then you're going to get charged up, or the Void Rays are going to charge up on you. So it's some lot of nonsense, pretty much. And now he has pulled even in the Harvester count. I did stop training them for a bit. I'm not sure why I did that. I really needed to saturate my third. You really don't need workers beyond 3 fully saturated bases. Once you start doing that, your army max. And yeah, I do. There's he's sneaking an expansion up here. But yeah, once you have 3 fully saturated bases, any more than that, and you really start cutting into the max army you can put up at size 200. And I rarely see the pros go much over the 70 Harvester range. And when they do, very often the people who get more than that lose. Not always, but very often. So I'm really not convinced at the utility of going much beyond like 70 Harvesters. But I could have invested and gotten up to the full Harvester count. And I think I am going to start at least attempting to do that. Opponent here is moving out to take the gold. I don't know what prompted him to go for that many Colossus. I guess he's never scouted the Void Rays, so it's just a blind, typical Protoss ball of Stalkers and Colossi. It's actually pretty similar to the last game in that regard. My opponent just got lots of Colossi, and for what? To counter the Zealots? That's about it, unless you're just trying to get through the cannons. But you don't need that many. It just seems strange to me. It's just way too many of these. Maybe it's some Zealots and then go all Stalker, or maybe you mix in some Sentries. I don't know. I don't know what would be the best composition to take out Void Rays other than your own Void Rays. But this isn't the answer. This is way too much minerals and gas into something that can't hit the strongest of my offensive units. And yeah, he actually stops to attack that pylon, which gives me some reaction time. So I'm going to move over here. And if you just look at the armies count, I have such a huge army compared to him, and that's because he let me sit on an expansion for so much longer than him. Yeah, he eventually expanded himself, and he meandered up and got a third, although I actually had my third up before him. So now I'm just going to be chasing him down. He had 1 Void Ray, and that's not going to do a whole lot. Maybe he's going for that Protoss Death Ball that HG likes to talk about. But that's just not, that's not enough. He let me sit on expansions too long. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up because this is going to be a Colossus chase. And they're reasonably quick, They got the Protoss plating 1 on the Nexus. That's not relevant whatsoever. Yeah, they got 2.25 speed. Void Rays are actually the same speed, so but I can take angles on him. And yeah, he will GG out of the game. So that'll be that. Way too much money for my opponent as well. So generally, we still don't know how viable this build is. I'm betting it's not very viable, excepting in cases where your opponent lets you expand. And certainly, when I saw him drop the Forge and Cannon and delay any 4-gate pressure, I knew I could take an expansion safely. So when you can get it, certainly a lot of Void Rays with some ground cover seems pretty powerful in the Protoss Mirror matchup, at least so far. Anyway, that's going to be a good game. Thumbs up if you liked the video, and I will see you in the next one. TheMeInTeam signing off.